Hello and welcome to Let Me Explain to Mordheim. I've decided I'm going to do a Let Me Explain series of videos on several games in my Steam library, and this is going to be the second installment. Obviously the first one was Grav. This is a strategy game I recently purchased and I really do enjoy playing it. So if you guys want to see more of this video, then please comment below, and yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this video. I'll attempt to explain what's going on as I go through the video. So this is shortly after the deployment. I cut that out because it was a bit fluffy, and this is actually my first game on Mordheim, so I've not actually played the game before, so I thought this was actually a really good time to record. And its controls are a bit icky. Use WAS and D to move your character around, and the mouse to move the camera. And it's a turn-based strategy game, not too dissimilar from Space Hulk. So if you're familiar with how Space Hulk works, then you'll be relatively familiar with how this game works. However, if you haven't played Space Hulk before, I'll try and give you a quick breakdown. You get little tiny blue buttons and little tiny red buttons. The red ones are action points and the blue ones are movement points. You can move anywhere inside a certain radius for free. Outside of that radius you will need to sacrifice a movement point. There you just saw me fire my first arrow. I was very excited by this because I actually hit something and done some damage, and as you can see that cost me some red points to fire. It also then costs you a blue point to reload, so if you use archers, that is worth remembering at all times. The game doesn't operate team by team. I think it operates on initiative-based systems, so if you have a team with high initiative, all of your team will get to go ahead of the other team, although I don't actually know for certain if this is the case or not. So I'll explore that perhaps at a later date, or if you are more experienced in the game, please correct me below. I don't mind. That would be quite interesting to see other people's point of view. That being said, I don't actually play as Chaos anymore in this game. After this game I lost my next 6 games and had to disband the warband. I'm now playing as Skaven, which seemed to suit my playstyle a little bit better. I've lost only 1 out of like 8 games or something, so yeah, it's a little bit of trial and error. Also, this being my first warband, I didn't really know what I was doing with the war gear, or what I was actually doing with the buff system that you can see me use here with my main hero. So much like the tabletop game, there is a pad that you can see around the enemy there, a small disc. I think that's supposed to represent like the disc the little models used to stand on. So your disc or your character has to be touching that disc in order for it to count as a melee strike. There's also a limit to how many characters you can use to surround another player. Obviously in the tight areas you can't always manage to get all 5 of them all the way around one target. There's a morale system in the game which is very interesting. If you manage to isolate one hostile, they have to take a morale test, which is quite interesting, to determine whether or not they flee because they are outnumbered. At this point here I was trying to sneak round the corner and got caught by that dude there with the axe, who was on an ambush stance, and anything that comes within that radius will automatically be attacked and prevent you or the hostile from moving any further. It's a very, very useful tactic if you want to, say, set your archers at the end of a road. You can then ambush anyone coming towards those archers with a couple of melee guys. You can hide them in like doorways and stuff. So I have done that with my Skaven. It's been very useful, a useful tactic to block reinforcements to my my main hero, who was pretty low on health, but I didn't record that, and I probably should have done, but it doesn't really matter. I'm sure that, like I say, I'll be playing this game much more. I really do enjoy it. If you have any movement points left over after performing a number of successful attacks, you can then choose to put the movement points into a stance, like either parry or dodge or disengage if you want to move away from the fight. It's a nice little system that's in the game. I never actually played the Mordheim tabletop itself, so I don't know how it compares with the actual tabletop. I imagine it's fairly close. I did play, obviously, the original 40,000 and the original fantasy tabletop, and every now and again I do get the models out and have a play with them. Like, I play with myself. Let's be honest, I just play with myself. The main objective on each map is obviously to defeat your opponent's team, whether that's by causing them to rout off the map or by wiping them all out. The real goal, though, is to collect little green crystals. I didn't know this for this map. I was just sort of running around my thumb up my arse trying to do as much damage as humanly possible. I did record this whole match, but because it was like 25 minutes long, I didn't want to upload it with one incredibly long droning voiceover the whole way through. And also I didn't want to sit here for 3 decades growing a fucking beard waiting for it to upload. My internet being completely potato, of course. So you've only got like the first 2 kills, which is close to 10 minutes. So don't worry, this video will be over shortly, as will the enemy team. And when you do kill a member of the enemy team, you can loot their bodies, and if you do loot them,
a new round has started.
When they return to their warband, wounded or dead, they will have any items lost that you've picked up. So if they had, say, a 2-handed axe or a nice crossbow, and you've killed them and they've dropped it, and you've decided to pick that up, then they cannot use that item. They'll have to purchase a new one. Something I didn't realise is that if you actually run it back to the caravan, which is where you spawn for the most part, depending on the mission, then you can put all the things you've picked up, the green crystals, you can put up the armour or weapons or quest items that you've looted off dead enemies, you can put them in the caravan. I don't know at this point in time whether or not you can loot an opponent's caravan. I don't really think that's actually an issue whether you can or can't, because from my personal experience playing this game, the AI has a tendency to avoid the caravans completely and just simply hunt you down and pick up as many of the crystals along the way. I've never actually seen them run back to the caravan to try and deploy anything or store anything. So here I finally get the buffing actually done correctly, so the next character to come along, the one I'm now buffing, has whatever that effect is. I'm assuming it's some sort of damage buff. I don't actually know. I didn't bother reading what it did. I just went straight in, just done it. I figured, you know, it's obviously a positive effect and it looks like it empowers the weapon, so I'm guessing it helped in some way. You can obviously get different effects for your weapons. You can get like poisons and stuns and everything. I haven't really gone into the war gear all that much. As you can see, the 2 characters surrounding that one character have little swirly patterns underneath. That means they have an increased chance to dodge, which is incredibly useful. And you can see again the additional overlaying discs. Now I think if some of these discs overlap too much, I think it actually blocks other characters from getting through. But again, obviously, if I'm wrong and you've played this game more than I have, which is you know, quite likely, then just leave a comment down below and I'll take all of that under advisement for perhaps another video if you guys want to see another video on this. This video is pretty much over now. I haven't really explained too much about the game, I hope, or too little. The storyline's quite interesting. I have immense amounts of fun playing this game, I really do. And that's all I've really got to say on the matter. If you enjoyed this video, Please let me know if you do want to see more Mordheim, City of the Damned. Please comment. You know, if you're into tabletop strategy games or turn-based strategy games, I highly recommend this for you. It's incredibly challenging and immensely fun. Thanks.